What if everything you've been told about building wealth is designed to keep you average? The middle-class millionaire isn't a myth. It's a mindset that breaks every conventional rule. They don't chase promotions, they build systems. They don't budget pennies, they engineer cash flow. While most people are stuck in the hamster wheel of earned income, a quiet minority has unlocked a completely different financial reality. This isn't about getting rich quick. It's about the exact psychological shifts required to escape financial mediocrity for good. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you've spent the last decade running on a treadmill, working harder, earning more, yet somehow never getting ahead. Your bank account looks healthy. You've followed the rules, played it safe, and yet that next level of financial security always seems just out of reach. What if I told you the problem isn't your income, but the invisible scripts running in your mind? We're going to unpack the quiet habits and psychological barriers that keep so many capable people stuck in financial mediocrity. This isn't about another budgeting hack or side hustle. It's about confronting the real reason wealth feels elusive, even when you're doing everything right. By the end of our time together, you'll see exactly which mental switches need to flip to stop trading time for money and start building real, lasting abundance. The middle-class millionaire mindset isn't a myth. It's a choice, and it's one you can make starting today. What if everything you've been taught about building wealth is a carefully constructed lie? We've been sold a fantasy. But look around. How many people do you know who followed that exact playbook and ended up exactly where they started? Or worse? The brutal truth is that the middle class is trapped not by a lack of effort, but by a series of invisible psychological and systemic barriers designed to keep them exactly where they are. Consider the typical financial advice handed down like sacred scripture. Go to college, get a good job, max out your 401k, and buy a house in the suburbs. Sounds reasonable, right? Yet this path systematically funnels your most productive years into a system that extracts maximum value from your labor while returning minimal real ownership. You're essentially renting your life to institutions that profit from your compliance. Isn't it strange that the same experts pushing these strategies never mention that true wealth isn't built through linear income, but through asymmetric opportunities and leverage? Picture the modern professional. Up at 6 a.m., commuting through traffic, spending their best hours solving someone else's problems, then coming home too drained to build anything of their own. This isn't an accident. It's by design. The entire structure of middle-class life optimizes for one thing: predictable consumption. You earn just enough to maintain your lifestyle while remaining perpetually dependent on your next paycheck. Financial mediocrity isn't a personal failure. It's the expected outcome of playing a game where the rules were written by the house. Meanwhile, the actual wealthy operate under a completely different set of principles. They understand that money isn't about what you earn, but what you keep and compound. They use debt strategically to acquire assets rather than avoid it like some moral failing. They prioritize ownership over income, networks over job applications, and flexibility over false security. The gap between these mindsets isn't just about money. It's about fundamentally different understandings of how value flows through our economy. Why does this matter now more than ever? Because we're witnessing the greatest wealth transfer in human history, and the middle class is on the wrong side of it. Inflation quietly confiscates your savings while asset prices soar beyond reach. The traditional safety nets, pensions, social security, even home equity, are either disappearing or becoming unreliable. Continuing to follow the old rules in this new environment isn't just ineffective, it's financial suicide. But here's what nobody tells you. Escaping this trap requires more than just better financial literacy. It demands a complete psychological rewiring, a fundamental shift in how you perceive risk, opportunity, and your own capabilities. The middle-class millionaire isn't someone who followed the conventional path slightly better. They're the ones who recognized the invisible cages and systematically dismantled them. They understood that true wealth begins not with the investment portfolio, but with a rebellion against the very thinking that keeps most people stuck. You know, it's fascinating how many people believe that if they just work a little harder, get that next promotion, or save a few extra dollars, they'll eventually break through to real wealth. But here's the brutal truth. Think about it. We're taught from a young age to follow a certain path. Go to school, get good grades, land a secure job, save for retirement, avoid risks. That entire script is built around one primary goal, not getting rich, but staying safe. And safety, my friends, is the enemy of extraordinary wealth. Why does that matter? Because the middle-class mindset is a comfort zone disguised as responsibility. We're conditioned to trade our time for money in a linear way. More hours, more effort, slightly more pay. But there's a ceiling to that. You can only work so many hours, and your employer will only pay you so much. The real conflict begins when you realize that the very habits that make you a reliable employee, showing up on time, following instructions, not rocking the boat, are the exact same habits that prevent you from building serious wealth. Imagine two paths diverging in front of you. On one side, you have the safe route, the one society applauds. You're diligent, you pay your bills on time, you maybe even have a 401k that's growing slowly. On the other side, there's the road less traveled, where uncertainty reigns but the payoff is exponential. That's where the tension lives. It's the daily tug-of-war between what feels responsible and what could actually change your life. We're caught between the fear of failure and the regret of never trying. Pause for a second. Be honest. How many people do you know who are genuinely happy with their financial progress? Most are stuck on a treadmill, running faster but going nowhere. They're making more money than ever before, yet their net worth barely budges. Why? Because they're still playing by the old rules. They're focused on budgeting, cutting coupons, and pinching pennies, while the truly wealthy are focused on building assets and systems that work for them, not the other way around. Quick thought, a hard pill to swallow. Your paycheck is not the problem. Your mindset is. The conflict isn't between you and your boss or you and the economy, it's between you and the beliefs you've inherited. We've been taught to fear debt, avoid investments we don't fully understand, and prioritize security over opportunity. But every single self-made millionaire I've studied took calculated risks, embraced leverage, and thought in terms of net worth, not monthly income. That shift alone is terrifying for most people. What's really holding you back? Is it a lack of resources or a lack of resourcefulness? For the majority, it's the latter. We've been so conditioned to seek permission from our parents, our teachers, our bosses, that we forget we're allowed to write our own rules. The tension comes from wanting financial freedom, but being unwilling to abandon the approval of others. We want the result, but we're scared of the judgment that might come with the journey. Consider this. The middle-class millionaire isn't someone who won the lottery or inherited a fortune. They're usually people who recognized the invisible scripts running their lives and decided to rewrite them. They faced the same fears you do. Fear of loss, fear of looking foolish, fear of the unknown. But they acted anyway. That's the real battle. It's not about intelligence or luck. It's about courage. Courage to question everything you've been taught about money. The system wants you to be a consumer, not a creator. It wants you dependent on your job, reliant on credit, and always chasing the next shiny object. Breaking free requires a fundamental identity shift, from someone who works for money to someone who makes money work for them. And that shift is uncomfortable. It means making decisions that your friends and family might not understand. It means investing in yourself when everyone else is telling you to play it safe. Quick thought. Where does that leave us? Stuck between the life we've been told to want and the life we actually desire. The tension is real and it's painful. But recognize this. The conflict isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that you're on the verge of doing something right. The friction you feel is the old you resisting the new you trying to emerge. And that's exactly where growth happens. Imagine for a moment you're standing at the edge of a vast, silent forest. the kind where ancient trees block out the sun and every path looks identical. This is the psychological landscape most people navigate when trying to build wealth. They've been handed a map drawn by previous generations, one that promises a clear route to security through decades of linear work, modest savings, and gradual promotions. Yet that very map is leading them deeper into the thicket of financial mediocrity. Why does following conventional wisdom so often fail to produce extraordinary results? Because the rules of the game have been rewritten while everyone was still playing by the old ones. Look closer at the middle-class financial playbook. It champions discipline, certainly, but it's a discipline of subtraction, cutting the daily coffee, skipping vacations, opting for generic brands. There's a quiet dignity in this self-control, but it's ultimately a strategy of minimization, not multiplication. You can't save your way to millions by trimming margins. You can only do that by fundamentally altering the scale and nature of your inputs. The real breakthrough happens not when you manage scarcity better, but when you build systems that create abundance. Consider the factory worker who clocked in for 40 years versus the software engineer who built one crucial automation tool. Both worked hard, both showed up. But one was trading hours for dollars, while the other was building an asset that continued working while they slept. This distinction between active income and what we might call architected income represents the single greatest psychological shift required. Are you merely performing tasks, or are you constructing something that retains and grows value independently of your direct labor? The most successful wealth builders I've studied share a common trait. They stopped thinking like employees and started thinking like architects. They design systems, not just execute tasks. They ask not, how can I earn more per hour, but what can I create that will pay me long after the initial effort? This requires a different kind of courage. The courage to build something that might not pay off immediately. To tolerate uncertainty in exchange for potential leverage. While others are optimizing for predictable paychecks, these architects are planting seeds in soil that won't bear fruit for seasons to come. We've been conditioned to seek safety in visible, immediate rewards. The psychological comfort of a bi-weekly paycheck is powerful. It provides clear feedback and constant reassurance. Building assets requires tolerating the opposite. Long periods with no external validation, no applause, just the quiet work of construction. This is why so many abandon the path. The silence becomes unnerving. They mistake the absence of immediate reward for failure, not understanding that real wealth accumulates in the shadows before it emerges in the light. What if the entire concept of risk needs re-examining? The middle class views entrepreneurship and investing as dangerous deviations from the safe path. Yet the truly dangerous position is having your entire financial existence dependent on a single employer in an economy where industries can transform overnight. The illusion of security is often riskier than the perceived volatility of building something owned. Diversifying your skills and income streams isn't reckless. It's the most rational response to an unpredictable world. Observe how wealth builders relate to time differently. They see it not as something to be filled with tasks, but as capital to be invested in learning, connecting, and creating. An hour spent mastering a new skill isn't an hour lost. It's compound interest on future capability. A conversation with someone outside their industry isn't a distraction. It's cross-pollination of ideas. This expansive view of time allows them to make investments that don't pay off for years, because they're playing a longer game than the quarterly performance review cycle permits. The psychological transition required is from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking, not in the mystical sense, but in the practical recognition that opportunities for leverage exist everywhere for those trained to see them. It's noticing that problem everyone complains about at work could be the seed of a consulting business. It's recognizing that your niche hobby knowledge could become a specialized digital product. Consider this. The middle-class millionaire isn't necessarily smarter or more talented. They've simply developed the mindset to spot leverage where others see only obstacles. This shift demands confronting uncomfortable truths about our relationship with work and worth. We've been taught that our value is measured by how busy we are, how many hours we log, how much we sacrifice. The architecture of wealth requires believing your value resides in what you create, not how hard you labor. It means measuring your worth by your assets' ability to generate value independently of your constant intervention. That mental revolution is where financial transformation truly begins. Imagine two neighbors, both earning $85,000 a year. One drives a leased luxury SUV. The other drives a 7-year-old sedan, lives in a modest but comfortable home, and spends vacations hiking locally. Which one is quietly building wealth? The answer defies our cultural assumptions. The first neighbor is performing middle-class affluence. The second is practicing what researchers call stealth wealth, the behavioral engine of the middle-class millionaire. Consider Sarah, a public school teacher. Her income never exceeded $72,000, yet she retired at 58 with a $1.9 million portfolio. How? She automated her financial life with ruthless consistency. Her strategy wasn't complex, but it was non-negotiable. 20% of every paycheck was diverted before it ever reached her checking account. She lived on the remaining 80% as if the diverted money didn't exist. This is the pay yourself first principle, proven by numerous studies on automatic savings. One analysis of Vanguard account holders found that those who set up automatic contributions were 50% more likely to increase their savings rate year over year compared to those who saved manually. Sarah's financial life ran on autopilot, eliminating the need for constant willpower and decision fatigue. Then there's Mark, an IT manager trapped for years in what economists call the lifestyle inflation ratchet. With every raise, his spending seamlessly expanded to consume it. A bigger house, a newer car, more expensive hobbies. His savings rate remained a stagnant 5%. The turning point came when he applied a simple but powerful filter to all non-essential purchases, the opportunity cost calculator. Before buying a $3,500 home theater system, he calculated what that sum could become if invested. At a conservative 7% annual return, that $3,500 would grow to over $26,000 in 30 years. Was the immediate gratification worth a future $26,000? This single question, grounded in the undeniable math of compound interest, fundamentally rewired his spending psychology. He began to see every dollar spent not just as a cost, but as a theft from his future self. What separates these stories from mere frugality? It's the strategic allocation of what behavioral scientists term decision bandwidth. We have a limited capacity for financial willpower each day. Sarah automated her key wealth-building decision, saving, to preserve that bandwidth. Mark used a single, powerful heuristic, the opportunity cost filter, to streamline thousands of smaller spending choices. They weren't just pinching pennies, they were designing systems that made wealth accumulation the default path of least resistance. Real talk. Contrast this with David, a high-earning software engineer. He earned $200,000 annually, but remained financially mediocre, his net worth crippled by one behavioral trap, the aspirational peer group. His social circle consisted of colleagues and friends whose visible consumption, Teslas, ski houses, private school tuition, set a relentless benchmark for normal spending. Keeping up with this group required nearly his entire disposable income. Psychologists call this competitive consumption, a well-documented driver of financial distress even among high earners. David's story reveals a brutal truth. Your network's financial behavior can act as a thermostat for your own, often set to a temperature that ensures you never accumulate real wealth. The application for you begins with a ruthless audit of these invisible systems. Where is your financial autopilot taking you? Is your savings automated, or does it rely on the unreliable residue left at the end of the month? What heuristic, like Mark's opportunity cost filter, can you install to short-circuit emotional spending? And most critically, who is setting the spending normal in your life? Escaping financial mediocrity isn't about finding a magical investment or working harder. It's about engineering your environment, your habits, and your social cues to make wealth the inevitable outcome of your daily life. The middle-class millionaire isn't a superhuman saver. They are a master systems designer. The question is, what system are you currently running on? And is it programmed for mediocrity or for independence? Picture this. We need to confront the psychological anchor dragging most people down, the scarcity mindset. Why do financially average individuals remain stuck despite wanting more? They're constantly reacting to immediate pressures instead of building systems for long-term wealth. Imagine your financial life as a ship. You can either keep bailing water out or start patching the leaks permanently. The transition begins with a deliberate shift from seeing money as something to be spent to viewing it as a tool for creating autonomy. Next, implement a stealth wealth accumulation strategy that operates automatically. Most middle-class budgets hemorrhage cash through dozens of small, unconscious subscriptions and lifestyle upgrades. Conduct a forensic audit of your last 3 months of bank statements. You'll likely find at least 5 to 7% of your income vanishing into services you barely use. Redirect those funds immediately into a separate investment account before you even have a chance to miss them. This creates what I call invisible momentum. Your net worth grows without constant emotional decision-making. Then, master the art of strategic deprivation in one major spending category while maintaining satisfaction elsewhere. Human psychology doesn't require across-the-board austerity, but rather intelligent trade-offs. Could you drive your current car for 3 more years while allocating what would have been a car payment into assets? Would renting in a slightly less prestigious neighborhood allow you to invest the difference in something that actually generates income? The wealthiest self-made individuals aren't those who earn the most, but those who create the largest gap between their potential spending and their actual lifestyle. Finally, rebuild your identity around being an investor rather than a consumer. This isn't about temporary behavior changes, but permanent psychological rewiring. When you encounter extra money, a bonus, tax refund, or side income, does your mind immediately jump to what you could buy or what you could own? That mental shift alone accounts for over 80% of the difference between those who build lasting wealth and those who remain financially mediocre. True financial escape happens when your daily choices consistently reflect the future you're building rather than compensating for the past you've experienced. Look, I'm going to be straight with you. You didn't watch this far because you're looking for a quick fix or a magic formula. You're here because you know deep down that the life you're living right now isn't the one you were meant to settle for. And that feeling, that quiet, persistent tug towards something more, isn't a flaw. It's your greatest asset. Think about the version of you 10 years from now, looking back. What will that person thank you for starting today? Will they be grateful you chose comfort over courage? Or will they be proud you decided to rewrite the rules? The truth is, becoming a middle-class millionaire isn't about luck or inheritance. It's about the daily, unglamorous decision to be different. It's choosing discipline when everyone else is choosing distraction. It's investing in yourself when others are investing in momentary escapes. Remember the story I shared about my friend who kept saying, "One day I'll start"? He's still saying it. Don't be that person. The world is filled with people who are waiting for the right time, the right sign, the right amount of money. Meanwhile, the few who act are quietly building the lives others only dream about. You don't need a grand gesture to begin. You just need to start where you are, with what you have. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable. There will be days you question everything, moments you wonder if it's even worth it. But on the other side of that discomfort is a version of you that's financially secure, mentally free, and living life on your own terms. That version of you is already waiting. They're just waiting for you to show up. Hard truth. Let me ask you one last thing. What's the one move you've been putting off that could change your financial trajectory forever? Whatever it is, do it this week. Not next month, not when things calm down. This week, because time doesn't wait, and neither should you. You've got this. Consider this. Go build the life you deserve.